Did you watch that Joe Budden podcast that I posted with that woman and the prenup?
Can you pin it?
Yeah, chat, send it to Pearl. It's basically a woman talking about how she'll never share her money. It's for her kids to her new husband. These guys are like 50 years old and getting married. And she's saying that, and he learns on the podcast right there that he's not getting any of her money. And he's like pretending he doesn't know that she has more money, but he's pathetic too. It's like, a woman makes more than you? Really? Come on, bro. And she straight up tells him he can't have a penny. And he learns on the podcast, and he has this stupid, fucking bewildered look on his face, like he's never tasted red pill in his life. And he's learning the hard way.
I want, yeah, I mean, women, the answer to all this is women don't like men that much, and they don't want to be in relationships. That's it. If women wanted to be in like if you had access, if you wanted to be in a relationship and you had access to what we had access to in dating apps, you'd be in one. You'd go on a date every week until you found a girl you liked, or date every day.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like the fat, like women are like the fat women that say they want to lose weight but keep eating, or their
Yeah.
revealed preference is like that they want to be fat. Women's
Yeah.
revealed preference is that we want to be whores and by ourselves,
Yeah.
and that we don't like men.
Well, I don't know if it's by yourself. It's you different options around you, right?
Um, I mean, they don't want to get married, and they don't really like.
Yeah.
So, and if we do get married, we tend to divorce. So, I
Yeah,
want
I
to.
don't understand how people don't see that the future is divorce. I've been saying this for so long, and you know who gets hit hardest by this is the Christians, really, because they're convinced that I'm wrong.
Why is it the end of the world if you have to date someone for like 7 years, 5 years?
Exactly.
You know, it's not. It's like
Yeah.
it's. I mean, it's a little sad because it's not like what I grew up with, but
Yeah.
like, okay,
It's not
let's say the worst
movies.
happens. Zherka, how old are you? You're like
I'm
32.
31, and I think it's sad. It's not like the movie Up where they grow old
Yeah,
together, right?
yeah. But like, okay, let's say you date a girl now for the next decade. You have a good relationship, but she gets bored and leaves. I mean, then you date the next girl. Like, and then if one stays, great. If one doesn't, like, it's almost, I think marriage is better now. And hear me out. And the reason I think it's better is the people that stick it out, it's the most pure form of marriage. Because before, there's this idea that like couples were happy before. And I don't think they were. And I used to think that everything was good before and it's not good now. And I went back on this thought because if, like, as soon as women got the chance to go to work and divorce their husbands, they did. So their revealed preference was that they didn't like their husbands that much.
Yeah.
And so all these men were with women they thought loved them, but actually didn't want to be with them. I almost think that's worse.
Yeah. Like
So,
Matrix, right?
yeah, where like if she wanted to leave, she would leave. Now, the women that are in your life today are there because they want to be there. It's
Yeah.
not society pushing them. It's not like, so if you find a girl that loves you, miracles happen. you know, but like it's a more pure form of like love because before you might stay for the kids or society. Now no one's staying for any of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And really, even the Jungian take was that the perfect marriage is if you guys can be loyal to each other, but the rule is you don't have to be. And I'm like, what? But apparently, that way, it never builds a shadow. And that if you give a human total freedom, right? Because humans only want two things: love and freedom, unity and separation. And if you balance these two opposites, you have the most psychic uh, whole feeling that a human can have. But that really means that you're supposed to not give a fuck when she goes out. Like, really be your own man, have your own world, and she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She's a good person. She's not going to cheat, but she's supposed to have that option because in today's day and age, You cannot go back in time. It's just, it'll work only for 7 years, but it's a guaranteed divorce.
Um, I was gonna ask you for a psychoanalysis.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh no, I want like I like the in-depth stuff you do on people, so I want one. I'm soliplistic, remember?
Yeah, but I don't know any of your personal life. I don't know your relationships. I don't know any of that.
Oh, okay. I thought I could just get one.
Oh, okay. I mean, the way I see it is because you're on these topics, you will lean towards a more pessimistic point of view. That's natural if you're saving people and telling them the truth, right?
Hmm.
But that could be a double-edged sword for you because, like you're saying, let's say if you think like this, where you save people, you tell them, oh, maybe 7 years, maybe this. Do you apply it to your own relationship? Do you think about that for yourself? Because then that the kind of like cat is out of the bag. Then that leaves so much room for arguments, right?
Well, what would we argue about?
Well, wouldn't your man ever say something like, well, what do you mean about that 7 year thing? Right?
Oh, well, yeah, I could see that, but my boyfriend is like he kind
Like,
of,
can you see your career ever turning into a demon on itself, like the shadow part of your
you know
career?
what? There was a point where it did. When I was very like so when I was really famous or like I don't even like it sounds so egotistical when I say that, but like when I was more like my career was at a
Trust me, I know what you mean.
like I don't like saying I don't know. Like I don't like saying it like that because I
Yeah.
feel like internet
Yeah.
fame is like barely, but I don't know. But like it doesn't really count. But when I was really well known, I was like terrified to like date. Like I really wanted a boyfriend, but I was like terrified to date because I was so like nervous that a guy would like run to the internet or like I don't know. I just like it really psyched me out because I felt like so much pressure, from like talking about these topics.
Yeah.
So it kind of did become, and it wasn't like it was kind of like I didn't mean to kind of like put it like I really wanted to be in a relationship, but when I kind of psychoanalyzed myself where I was like, why aren't you on a hinge date every day, or like why aren't you doing this and this? And then it was like
Yeah.
as
If you
soon as
want something, why aren't you doing it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I thought like I wanted it. I really was
Yeah.
convinced I did, and then I like thought longer and harder, and I was like, and then it's funny when I had this realization, and then I was like, oh, I need to do step A, B, C, and then I got a boyfriend, and it was like didn't even take that long,
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
but
to me, the scariest part is when someone that loves me, let's say someone who watches all my shit, comes up to me in person and they go, "Man, Zherka, I want to see you with the family. I want to see you with this." And I go, "Do you have that?" And they go. Sometimes they say, "Yes, I have a wife and I've just had a kid and stuff." And the more I talk to him at the bar and we get to know each other, I find out that his downtime is just watching me. Like, what? There's no, so if you sell me this lifestyle, I've got to be this guy who, have you noticed like people with a wholesome life always check out? They always check out of society totally. They're not in the town square. They're not Socrates. They're not Plato. They're always checked out and they come back in the game when they're Jordan Peterson's age, right? When they have, like Jordan Peterson had the crazy death drive and started popping off, right? He started working hard at that. You know what I mean? And to me, that's terrifying that if you turn into Jordan Peterson and you turn about the clout and the legacy at an old age, a lot of people do that. To me, that has got to be the grayest life ever. Like, shouldn't that stuff come in your 20s? So when you're an old man, you could be more about your books. I want to get more quiet as I grow up. I don't want to get, I don't want to feel like, oh shit, man, that was a big opportunity I missed. And so sometimes I wonder, I'm like, if people are in my shoes, would they really distract themselves with wife and kids, or are they just saying that to me? Are they just
well,
bullshitting?
why do you have to do it now? Like you're a guy, you could have a kid at 50 if you wanted to, you know.
Trump had his at 64 years old. Barron is
Yeah.
8 feet tall. Like, what's going on? Are people
Yeah, like you're not.
And bro, I think about something that I don't know why men don't get here faster, but something that blows me away is how if you're not, balding fat and you just totally yourself, if you're just, hanging in there, it's incredible how attractive men become as they get older to women. I'm not saying like, oh, this told me, and look how men treat a Brad Pitt or something like that. They
Mhm.
treat him very different now than when he was young. When he was young, he was popular in a different way. But for men, this aging process is really, really good for them. It's incredible. In the dating
Well,
market, it's
but a
like
lot of the
more
married guys.
money, more friends, more nest.
Well, a lot of married guys, they don't know how attractive they are, and the woman has to convince. Like, women are constantly trying to convince men that they're not as good looking as they are, they're not as attractive as they
Yeah,
are, because it gives us more power. Because, I mean, do you
yeah.
know what, like, is a deep down, like, fear I have? And
I
every woman
love that
has.
you're mentioning this.
What?
I love that you're mentioning. This
So,
is my favorite thing you've ever mentioned.
yeah, so, like, our fear is when I hit, so let's say I stay in amazing shape and I'm still cute. I know, God, for 45. But we all know at 50 you're done. Like, there's like a cute mom at 45. So let's sell myself that dream. you know. Like,
Hmm.
cuz for men it's like there's like would and wouldn't, right? I mean, that's kind of like
Hmm.
there's leagues and there's like levels, but like there's would and wouldn't. But I know when I'm 50 and let's say I marry a guy 10 years older than me, he's 60. I have no power in the relationship. And if he knows it, like, because he's 60, he can go date 40-year-old, 50-year-old women, 30-year-old women, and 25-year-old women. The leverage, like, he has so much leverage, and women are always trying to convince men that they don't have it.
I mean, I love what you said there, where it's like I see a good-looking dude with his chick, and he seems kind of demoralized and kind of like he's just slouching with his, his posture.
Mhm.
And I look at it, I go, "How the did that happen? Like, what's going on here? Like, what did they talk about that made him look at his shoes and she's more upbeat? And like, what the happened?" I don't get how women are like these ninjas that can do that. Like I see so many chads with a girl that should not be holding his hand,
Because
and
the
well, she
because
cooks for him. Yeah, so will any other. It's a chad. What the?
no, well, the problem is the younger women don't want to settle down. So the younger women will be fucking like three guys, right? They'll be like hot girl summer. And so
Yeah,
that's where like the uglier, like, so if a guy's an 8, let's say, so he can go for another 8. Problem with the other 8 is, he's competing with the other, like, she can go for the 10s, right? And so like, then they go lower just so it's less like problems. You know what I mean? Like, they have
yeah,
more leverage because young, like, women under 40 have a lot of like under 30, whatever you want to do, but like, like, imagine if you had the power of like 1,000. Like, when I was single, I had Bumble, and I had like 5,000 matches. Like, and
hmm.
I'm an average girl. Do you know what I mean? Like,
5,000 on Bumble,
yeah,
and you're saying that makes a woman drunk with power?
yeah, because okay, so I'm dating someone, right? We break up. Do you know how easy it is to set up? Like, women can go on a date every day. Like, it's kind of a numbers game, right? Like, a girl can go on a date every day of the week for the next month. Men will have to do, even a Chad has to do work to make that happen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, so that's the problem. Like, what I've heard from guys is that they will, like, now they're like going as a strategy, going for women between, and maybe this is a cope because I'm 28, so I don't know, but I've heard this as a strategy, like, they go for women between like 27 and 32, and it's because they can't get the women younger than that to settle down.
I'll
Like,
leave fresh alone.
what?
Leave fresh out of this.
What? I don't know. Does he date women or what?
That's exactly.
Yeah, you like 18, right?
That's actually a meme. Like I don't mind saying it to piss off liberals, but when I'm around the red pill people, like people I can just be myself with, I'm not trying to trigger anyone. That's a meme. I've only had one girl ever who was 18 and she was a part of the content process. Every other bitch I had was like 23, 24, 25. So I don't even it's just but I like the meme. I like
Yeah,
when
it's fine.
people get
I'm not judging. I wouldn't like judge you
no, no, Pearl.
if you wanted to date 18. Like I don't.
Out of a thousand women I've been around, they're 23, 22, all of them 25. This when I was 26, right? And now one meme puts me as this guy with 18-year-old. First of all, let me tell you this, man. She got to be attractive, okay? And I don't mean attractive just for me. Like I have a type, everyone has a type, but I'm saying she's got to be attractive to me. What makes the most sense is she lowering my sinning capacity? Meaning, if I stop dating her, do I go to ugly and sin a lot, or do I just stay home, do my push-ups, build myself? So that's what I think. An attractive woman actually levels people up in morality. I think as soon as some guy loses an attractive woman, he starts ugly bitches. Bro, if you go to ugly, you could do 30 a week. That really is gonna fuck up your life. That's
What's
why a
an
lot of
what's an
you
ugly?
you ask you could talk to any Chad, they'll tell you I had an 8-month period of no women because because of a breakup and they're trying to get a bitch just as hot. And to them it's more of like an egotistical thing, and the ego is correct. It's correcting your behavior right there. Like people don't understand, if you give me a nice motorcycle and then you take it away from me and I start riding a skateboard, that's degenerate sinning behavior. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, but it's what a lot of men have had to do the last decade. Like they get like the women they get are less and less attractive because the women like ruin their beauty. So like women are fat now, or like
I can't stand a
I
fat woman. I can't.
I
They
had
getting free lobster
I know
dinners.
I know
They can get on a meal plan
I
with the
know.
men they're
I
dating.
had I had an economist on my show to break down like what percent of women are marriageable. And so the way that he broke it down was um, they can't have an insane amount of debt. So obviously, like Zherka, you're not gonna marry a girl that has like $150,000 of debt you have to pay off.
Fuck
Yeah,
no.
exactly. So um,
I don't even care how good she looks. If she ever brought that up to me, I would be so turned off.
yeah.
That is
Well, my
crazy.
boyfriend has one of his ex girlfriends he dumped because like it came out that she had a lot of debt, and so he just like
Yeah, it's a good on him.
yeah
That's a terrifying position.
yeah and
Imagine she tells you that a year down the road.
yeah. So anyways, so the economist went through like women that are overweight. He went through like he took out women over. We were even generous. We said up to 35, so we expanded it. Um, and like it was like 1% of women are marriageable, like literally 1%.
Oh wow.
Like if or I think they took out single mothers. They took out like they were even like they didn't take out women. Oh, they took out women with like five more than they said one or two tattoos is fine, but if she had like six or more, she wasn't marriageable. Not
Yeah,
that
what is that? If a woman has a bunch of tattoos, they're never normal and they never get it together. The tattoo thing's an actual real thing?
yeah.
Like I don't know. A lot of women I've been around have like full sleeves and legs, but they're always in square one of trying to find a guy and kind of getting used by the guys in the city. And I'm like, oh wow, it's a real phenomena that if someone paints their body with ink and like they get a bunch of ink, it's kind of like it's doing something to the unconscious of men, or maybe it's signaling that she's twisted, right? Maybe someone wants to show the world they're a piece of
Well,
shit, so they tattoo themselves.
you know what I think it is? I think women want to like how do I explain this? Like, okay, women don't want to use their beauty and youth on men. So it's almost like taunting men to like dress like a boy or like get really fat or like it's almost like a competition. How ugly can I make myself and still get attention from men?
Oh my God, you're talking about those college bitches who go in hoodies to school.
Yeah, hoodies or because
I can't stand it when I see a woman in a hoodie and they're doing that thing where it's like it's an expensive brand and they're being fashionable with their baggy pants and their baggy hoodie and they think they're Justin Bieber in their head and stuff. To me, I can't stand it because it's like, bro, you're spending a bunch of money on these luxury items to look like a guy. You look like a man. Like, what's going on?
yeah, yeah. So that's what I think's happening. What do you think it is?
Uh, the esoteric answer is that it's the Aquarian age. So it's basically a human is on Earth. Every human on Earth has to produce love, or else they seriously degenerate in all sorts of ways. I'm not just talking about afterlife. And some people love skateboarding. Some people love swimming. Some people love tennis. You're supposed to generate love on Earth. Some people love their wife, some people love their kids, but it has to be here. And I think there's a uniting one, which is family based, and then there's a separating one, which is freedom based. And I teach one aspect of it. I don't promote stuff that I don't do. So I'll promote marriage fully when I'm married, right? But I promote the philosophy of freedom that if a human is not free, if a human doesn't do what they want, that they're seriously getting ripped off in this lifetime badly by themselves, really. And
And but they have to figure out what they want. I think that's the hard part. Is a lot of people don't know what they want.
I don't think that's the hard part at all, because what a lot of people want is hard, meaning it's deterring them. Oh, it's too hard to do that. That's literally the signal that that's what you're supposed. Everyone deep down knows what they're supposed to be doing, but it is the hardest thing on the list. It's
I don't
never,
know.
it's
I
never.
don't know.
Find someone who has a passion for something that's easy. It's always a fake passion.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I was less passionate actually. Sometimes I think it can be like a deterrent.
I mean, definitely, if you don't manage your desire world correctly, meaning if you don't have a spiritual practice where you go into your own temple and do the inner work of gratitude, some people will do meditation, some people will do active imagination. But if you don't have a practice you do daily that says, nothing is coming to me, nothing's happening today, I'm not making anything new today, literally nothing is going to happen to me today and I'm still going to have a good day. I'm still going to enjoy it. That part of a spiritual practice is the most important because then when something good does happen to you, it feels like a flooding bonus. But man, is it dangerous to have the Western mentality of more, more, more. Like, I think this is why the grind people, I promote grinding, but the people who don't understand that the brain, think of the breath in and out, active and passive, you have to have a passive spiritual practice. Some people can call it a psychological practice. If you just think like Andrew Tate, more, 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 you're a faggot. That's literally what faggots do. That's why they go from one boyfriend to 100 dudes coming them in a penthouse. More, more, more is never the answer. It's always more with happy with what you have. And this practice, if you don't understand, if you don't have a system to enjoy what you have right now, you turn into those. Have you ever seen those YouTubers who start losing it because they're not relevant?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Western mindset, right? It's not really in the East. You can actually see a lot of Eastern streamers, they're very relaxed. They don't crash out because the Eastern mentality is about like well-being decides. It's all about well-being. And the Western mentality is well-being is on the other side of desire, which is horrific. That's how you turn manic like Alex Jones. And, that's how Alex Jones got so fat. More, 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 right? The more translates into everything you do. That's why I think if you don't understand how to enjoy what you have, and really, if you really say, hey, Zerka, I believe in the philosophy of freedom, what's the first step I need to do to feel what you're feeling right now? I'd say the first step is get rid of everything you have. And the less furniture, the less clothes, the less stupid gadgets in your room, the more empty your house is, the better you will feel.
Yeah, I've never
That's
really had a lot of stuff, to be honest.
but
Like,
everyone who says they don't have a lot of stuff actually has a lot of stuff.
no, like I mean, my dad even like when I was making a ton of my money, my dad was like, you can spend money on yourself, like
Yeah.
you can do that. But what was I gonna say?
You don't
I
collect anything, you don't have anything that keeps you at home.
no, I
Like
mean,
Pearl, do you have the energy of today I can wake up randomly, buy a ticket and fly somewhere, even if there's no money there? Do you have that energy in you that like one day you could just wake up and do something very, very not normal? If you don't have that energy, which I think you do, you have financial freedom. You could do whatever the you want, right?
sort of.
Or excuse me, not financial freedom, schedule freedom. Like, do you
Yeah,
have that,
like
or do
I
you
mean
have the
that
burden?
that's not a problem for me. Like flying somewhere,
No,
like that's not.
if you got up right now and flew to a different country, and the next 3 days you don't know what you're doing there, you don't have a plan, you don't even know why you did it. It was like an impulse. And when you're there, all you do is think about work. And then you return home and you go, wow, I wasted 3 days in that country just thinking of work, and I'm back to work now. Like, what the fuck? These people are not
Oh
free.
yeah, oh yeah. That I kind of have that a little bit.
You are not free
Yeah.
because I'll tell you this, your work will always be on your table, but freedom is the highest value you could have in today's world. Because I mean, we all have family and stuff. That love is here. Don't get me wrong. Love is here, but freedom is not here. And people are like, well, you said financial freedom. Actually, the least free people are, the least free you can be is not if you're broke. The least free you can be is if you have money, especially if you have made $1 million. Like, I'm not saying getting rich is not good, right? I'm saying when people get, let's say you make $1 million, you put it into a house, you're locked into that house. You can't travel, you can't do anything. You're not free anymore. But I'll be rich in 50 years when the value goes up. You're
But
not
so,
free for 50
do you know what
years.
it is
You're
though?
not free for
I
50
just
years.
I just get such joy out of what I do. Like I just get like a joy out of it. So it's not even like it's like sometimes if I go on vacation, I'll think I would be having more fun figuring this out. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
What do you
not
mean?
like I'm not really motivated by money. It actually kind of bit me in the ass that I wasn't when I got demonetized. I was gonna say earlier, I think it helped me when I got demonetized. I kind of did lose everything because I wasn't really smart in the way that I like built everything. Um, and
I mean, no one is. No one trains people how to be
Yeah.
YouTubers. It's actually a
Yeah,
very weird
I'm
process.
glad it happened now because I had to rebuild and I had to do it in a lot more.
Yeah.
I had to like clean house. Like I had like 20 employees. I had to cut them all, and then it was good for me. But like I related when you were talking earlier about how like losing everything, kind of like it's almost it's like kind of the best place to be in. Um, but I don't know. I get a lot of joy out of like working. So it's not that I couldn't go enjoy the vacation. It's just like I get joy out of what I do. Like I've just always really liked YouTube. And sometimes I wish I liked it less because I think it's always been a struggle for me to like have a normal social life. Like I've never really been one to go to like events or parties, and sometimes it's like it's difficult for me to go to them and actually enjoy myself. And it's not
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
it's
talking about events or parties. I haven't been to any of that. I'm talking about like going to a mountain in Hawaii, like to be free.
I like the way
Because
I would just think like
I
why
think a
would I
social
what would be
event
like
is
the purpose of doing that? So that
the purpose is that do you have rigid structures that you cannot break? Like
well
are there places on earth you cannot go? And if you do, are you irritated and rattled that you're there? It means it's pretty much the Western mindset of I can never actually be in the moment.
Yeah, I do think sometimes I have a hard time being in the moment, but I mean, it wouldn't like for me like traveling somewhere isn't that big of a deal. Like I could like that's fine.
I feel like that's the antidote to most Westerners is you get a new perspective when you're somewhere new, and it's got to be somewhere new that's not career based. Is it if everything you do is for money and career and stuff, that's very metallic. There has to be a wonder, a sense of imagination to the things you do. There, if you don't have spirit and material, meaning, you know, in the moment and in the money, you get very fucked up in the world. Like most people who eat an apple, they don't even know the color of the apple. Oh, it's kind of yellow or red, or it's a mixture of. They don't even look at the apple when they eat it. They're looking at their phone. Most people can't even taste their food because they're looking at a device. And it's like, okay, if we're right about the digital age increasing anxiety in everyone, what is anxiety? What is anxiety really? Anxiety is being a fucking faggot. It's being a bitch. It's being a coward. Like, think about it. You're anxious in your own home. That has to be the. You're not anxious around a dragon, a caveman, a fight. You're afraid of nothing in your own house because a digital device is attached to you. Like, have you seen Sneeko? I feel so bad for him. He looks like any buzz on his phone can jolt his mood. Oh, hey, this guy texted me, and he's so. I mean, he's successful with the internet stuff, but he's so gone. Like, you can't save him. There's, he'll have a snap. He'll have a snap one day, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. All my friends on the internet have that Western mind of they can never turn it off, and I have, I can do that. I can grind. I can go crazy on the internet and stuff. But that's not what life's about. That life is about mastering the moment. Because I'm so sick and tired of people thinking Sneako's happy. Does he really look happy? I mean, he's always on to the next thing. It's like he's always in the same place. He's just going in circles. And it's like, dude, you're not figuring out how your mind works. No one can teach you how your mind works. You can read Jung all day. It's not going to, because his mind is different from yours. Your mind is different. You have to self contemplate. You have to watch yourself. In the world of reflections, you have to understand what is reflected at you. And it's different for everyone, right? But yeah, I get worried that people, the trap of success is that you turn into Sneeko, where he's always got something to do, but he's never like really psychically whole. He looks like Sneeko reminds me of a man who's running away from the boogeyman. He's always running somewhere. Have you noticed that? And it never ends. It literally never ends. It's like there's what's it called, Aurora Boreas, or it's basically the snake eating its own tail. And I see this with so many Westerners, and I'm like, wow, if people without the sport part of spirituality, that inner work, the sport, the hard part of spirituality, people who don't have that are sneakos. And Sneako's very earthy. He's on earth, makes money and stuff like that. But when he talks, it's short breath, it's running to something, it's almost like fear based, right?
Mhm.
It's terrifying. It's like well-being decides. You can sense well-being in someone's tone of voice. Well-being decides. It's kind of like when Andrew Tate starts getting ahead of himself and yapping a lot. You can see like a very frightened child. Like, where are you going, bro? You're at the hotel. Relax. You know?
Yeah, I
I
can
don't know.
see that.
I'm looking at the eastern part of the world, which I don't like that much. I'm looking at the west, and now I'm really understanding the two-headed eagle, where it's like, my God, if you're not balancing it, you can't go on one side and be sane. You can't be sane. You can be too boring being about well-being, and you can be way too anxious being around that Sneeko energy, right? Like, Zherka, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? We're living life. What the are you? Relax, bro. It's always there. It's always gonna be there. And I'm worried that Sneeko will be sitting in a Ferrari turning to me and saying, what do we do now? And that to me, that's like the biggest failure you can experience on earth, where it's like, dude, you're in a Ferrari, okay? You're not, there's nothing now. How about you enjoy 1 minute of your life on earth before you regret everything? So, and here's the craziest part is most people's what about what do I do now? What do I do now? It doesn't level them up in any masculine initiation. In life's trials, when you see someone running around hustling, they're not actually becoming a man. They're not becoming more masculine. They're just making a little more money, which is terrifying. Like imagine making let's say another chunk of money every year added to your salary, and nothing changed for you. You still have the same worries, still the same anxious habits, it's the same spiritual practice of nothing. Like, I mean, there's nothing more rigid than a spiritual practice that doesn't involve a meditative inner work, active imagination, things that are very brutal on your heart. Like, you might sit there and cry, but you just go in a temple? Is that what we're leaving it up to? This is wild. It's like, yeah, I see Sneeko do a
What
hundred
energy?
pull-ups.
What
Yeah.
energy do I have?
I think for you, you're more about you know how well-being should be deciding everything, and well-being does not decide for Sneeko. It does not decide for any of these guys. I think you're more in the center where you do look at well-being more. You don't have this shortness of breath and running around mania to you, right? Like I'm kind of curious, how do these Westerners, especially these YouTubers, how are these guys acting like drug addicts and they're not even on drugs? Like, what the is going on? You know, there's a
Mm.
lot of anxiety, and it's like, hey, if I've ever been put on earth to do something, is to master anxiety. Because what is the point of the Ferrari if you're anxious in it? Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, I've
So
thought of that.
it's
Like,
very terrible for me. It's hitting me hard. It's become like my main focus because I've got multiple different businesses. I got a new one coming out. They're all doing way too good. Like when I'm competing with YouTubers, they're beating me. But if they take a break for months, I'm on their page. It's wild how many blessings I can get doing this, right?
mm,
But well-being decides for me, and I'm convinced that it's a slippery slope off Jacob's ladder. You can do everything correct and then fall off at the top. You need to master breathing on earth. You need to master being, like just being. And I'm so sick and tired of every YouTuber I watch. They give me this anxious feeling of it's they're running. Even Sneeko getting 100 vlogs, 500 vlogs, 1,000 vlogs, and it's like, dude, there's no way this is the Western mind. There's no way. It's such a half way of looking at the world. But it's funny. You can watch debates with me and Destiny when I was defending the Western mind and grinding. And Destiny's like, wait till you make a shit ton of money, Zherka, you're gonna see that what you're saying is really foolish. And he was right. He was 100% right. Where it's like there is the now what aspect to it. You know, for me, it's a dangerous thing because for me, now what means self destruction. If I'm not building myself and I stagnate, I'll destroy myself because something needs to happen. But that's too Western. It's very harmonic and it's very freedom based. But I don't think freedom comes with anxiety. I think anxiety is the tool where anxiety makes a lot of money for people. Oh, my boss texting me, I'm afraid of. But dude, you might have lived 80 years of your life in your fucking apartment afraid of people. Like I it.
you
And
know what? I
yeah.
think that's why church makes pussies in a way because they're afraid of God. I know that that sounds bad, but
No,
it's
no,
like
that sounds perfect. Sounds
they're
I
so
understand exactly
they're
what you're saying.
so they're so they're so afraid of being sent to hell that they won't live.
Well,
You know,
that's
like
not even true. Most Christians don't even believe in. You look at the Gospels. They Most people are not actually believers. When they talk about hell all day, they're not afraid of hell. They're literally afraid of leaving their room.
yeah, no,
That's
that's it.
that's the
Do you want to know?
craziest thing.
I want to tell you a story about religion So when I can, is that okay? Can I? Because I think it kind of relates.
Yeah.
Um, so when I was like 22, I joined a non-denominational church. And this was like a product. Because I was kind of trying to figure out what religion I was because I was like raised Catholic. And so just for this time period, I wanted to try this out. And for 2 years, I was really good about going to Bible study. I went to Bible study like twice a week for 2 years. I was very involved in the church community. I lived the way that you stay abstinent in a lot of these communities is they all live together and like hold each other accountable. It's kind of weird, but like I did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so then I decided because in Protestant churches you get this is kind of embarrassing, but you get rebaptized. This is
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna embarrass myself by telling this story a little bit, but you get like rebaptized. So I did it, and then after I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like now I'm like a part of this church, and it's great. And so then I went on this retreat with a bunch of women. And I noticed all the women were like old and single, and I was like, all of these women here, like none of them. And so they were talking about there was going to be a dating event soon, and they said, yeah, but you know how dating events are in church. And I said, no. And they said, oh, it's all women. It's 90% women. It's 10% men. And in that moment, I realized that I was in church not because of God, but because I wanted a husband. Like I wanted to get married. Because in that moment, all of my motivation for going to church left. Like, and I
Yeah.
never went back. And I was like, shit, I was like, I think I'm not that religious. And I
No, I
didn't
get that.
realize it. I did not realize it. Like, if you said that to me, like when I was going, like I would have told you no. If you like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't like, I don't know if that's ever happened to you where you're going to something or you're doing something and you don't realize why you're doing it. And then it
Yeah.
was like, so I think that, but I don't think that's uncommon. I think a lot of times people go to churches like or religion for something. So
No, bro,
they want to feel like
you
they're a good
nailed it.
person. They want to feel like they're a good person or like they want some like sense of community or like they want a husband or a wife and they think
No,
that like the church is going to solve the problem for them.
bro, you nailed it. There's thousands of people who say you brought me to God and all this, but the people who really keep updating me on their life journey is the people who get a girlfriend. The people who get a girlfriend, I get messages, oh, you got me my first girlfriend, and oh, you brought me to God. And the guys with the God thing, they're gonna have their ups and downs, but they kind of disappear for a while. The guys who I get a girlfriend for them, they become, yo, I finished 100 pages of the Bible. I'm like, whoa, what's going on now? Like, there's this sense of gratitude that they're not alone. They get ice cream with the bitch and shit like that. And I'm like, oh wow, it is probably the cruelest thing on earth to not remind people that, hey, if you live in the esoteric traditions, they'd say if you live too much in spirit, it's Luciferic thinking based, meaning if you just read the Bible all day and never solve your loneliness, you're literally with the devil. 100%. It's 100%. Look at your behavior. Look how much hate you're filled with. You could just look at these people. There's a lot of people like this on earth. And so if you're not in the world and in the world of spirit at the same, one foot down, one foot up, if you're not doing both at the same time, horrific things happen to you. And I've been saying this for so long and nobody's really getting it. They're like, "What?" But the guys that update me, I don't want to like leak their shit, but every time I get a guy a girlfriend, he has this new energy to read the Bible and fix his life. But the guys who I bring to the Bible and they don't fix their earthly problems, they still have that loneliness. What is that loneliness? That fear, that suppressed hate is hate towards God, because God is really like giving you that position, but it's like limiting all these blessings and stuff. So yeah, I think the internet has made people into, hey, I'm going to be sinless by never leaving my room. And it's like, okay, but are you filled with hate? Oh, you are filled with hate. So number one, you're suffering more than I hate when people say everyone on earth is suffering the same. It's so not true. There's degrees to suffering. Some people are burning themselves. Some people are warm. There's degrees to suffering, dude. Not everyone's going through shit. No, it's a lie. Some
Like,
people fix their shit. Some people take responsibility of their lives, right? And here's what it is. Because you have so many different versions of yourself, your different eyes, your legion that I talk about, and they're all competing for the same spot. And some of them are making you losers. Some of them make you play on PlayStation all day. Dude, if you don't have the authority to get all of those variations of yourself into the world, integrated correctly, then you cannot go alone. Like if you go with that, I'm just going to grab the Bible and it's going to work for me. There's billions of people who tried that. You need a life, dude. You're given legs to walk. Get off your computer chair. Some of you guys have never even seen what a rose looks like up close. And you're telling me you love God. Some of you never seen the shine on an apple when you eat it. Because there's just blue light from the laptop in your face all day. And it's like, man,
yeah.
the Greeks used to penetrate the mysteries of nature. You can ask people all day what they want most. People want to be free of their thoughts. Biting from this fruit is not good. When you are thoughtless, you are experiencing well-being. No human in the West has even moments of well being, except the meditation guys. God bless them. There's nothing more intelligent than people who have a meditation practice before their prayers. I mean, these guys are literally 10 million steps ahead of people on well being. They have better skin, they have better hair, they're healthier, because you have to stop all that clutter. If you're a Westerner, go, 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 just thinking all the time. If you can't sit down for 20 minutes and think of nothing for 20 minutes, your life will always be noisy. And people are like, bro, that's the most terrifying thing I've ever heard, John. I have to sit still for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, go back
I
to your
don't think
regular.
I don't think I could do it. So it's probably a bad sign.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
What about 5 minutes? Could you 5?
Yeah, I could do 5.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, the last
I'm flawed.
year and a half,
Go ahead.
for the last year and a half, yeah, I used to be less strict about it, but now it's like go into society to buy my fruits and stuff. I look in the mall and stuff, and I see people. I go, why does everyone look so like they're getting ugly and more pressurized on the face, and they're really suffering just buying some fruit, and they look shriveled up, and they look very fucking small, small bones, and they're just breaking and brittle. And I'm like, oh, that's what constant thinking does, you know? That's why I really like these chads who go through a bowl at the beach. It's like the greatest thing you could do for yourself. And you're going to realize that when you are fully conscious in the world, like you might be unconscious listening to a podcast for 2 hours and you don't see your own nose. But if you see your nose, now you're conscious again. And there's very few moments in your life you're actually conscious. Like think of your childhood you can't remember, but there's certain parts you can vividly remember. Those parts you were conscious. They're with you forever. And you can stretch that memory, that etheric body. That happens from non thinking, which is well being. And all of the moments in your life that you remember, that you love, are in non thinking states or flow states or just states that are dictated by well being. They're never in Sneeko states. Like Sneeko's just falling so
Have
he's
you
doing
have you
everything
t- have
he's
you
doing
told
everything right and he's still anxious. He's doing
have you
everything
told
correct.
them that?
No, I don't want to bore him.
Okay. I didn't
I
know.
feel
Like,
like
I was
he
just
knows.
curious. Yeah. Well, I mean, he
I,
grew up online. I kind of relate a little bit because, like, I have.
Pearl, I never actually tell people or friends to slow down. I don't give people advice unless I'm doing something like this, where it's like they're asking for it. But no, I would never call Sneeko and say, "Hey, you're living life wrong," right? I think that's like, do you think he'd actually listen? No one would listen, right? You got Aiden Ross. He's got like $80 million, they say. He's ripping his nails from his fingers terrified of life, doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know if it's about drugs, doesn't know, like he doesn't, bro, money and success amplify the state of anxiety. It's not helping these guys,
I wish.
like,
I think the media makes it so much the amount of mental clarity my father has is just so incredible.
yes,
Like,
I always wonder about that for the boomers. I go, why
yeah,
are they in, they're always in more hours throughout the day of non-thinking states, and then the
yeah.
younger people are non-stop thinking.
And they also they know how to do things themselves. And so like part of like a non-thinking state, I think, is when you're like doing chores or like fixing something, you know? You kind
Yeah,
of get into that flow state where you're just not really like thinking.
yeah,
But like
and
my
they're in the world.
dad,
Yeah,
yeah, like my dad, I don't know, it's just his mental clarity is just incredible. Like, do you know what's one time I went through like a breakup a while ago, and I was like really sad about it. And my dad is just like he could not compute why I was sad. Like
yeah,
he was like why would you be sad? Like what do you like? He was getting mad at me because I was crying. This was a long time ago, but I was like crying, and he was like getting mad at me because he's like,
yeah,
"Why would you waste the day?"
yeah,
Because my dad and like people will try to like he doesn't see the point of therapy. He's like, like move on. Like if I ever get mad about something, he's also like he'll always be like, "Focus on the solution. Do not get mad
yeah,
about the problem." Like, I don't know, the wisdom I get from my dad is just like I think I'll never recover the day he passes away because it's like he is just like the wisest person I've ever met, like
yeah,
ever in my life.
yeah. And you look at their psyche of these boomers; it's they're always, their point of view is from well-being. And Pearl, me, our kind of point of view is from winning. We have that Trump thing where gotta get the views, gotta get the
Yeah.
money, gotta get the, and it's wild to me that it's like, oh wow, you can actually, like, imagine you go 50 years, 60 years of your life with pressure in between your eyebrows. Just, that anger, that seething, you don't know why you're angry thing. There are people like that. And there's people who are very
Do you know what?
successful who are like that.
Do you know what? I think
To
that
me,
most anger.
anything that makes the human uglier is a poison. I want to eradicate it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
I just talk over
I
because I'm
think
rude.
no, I just it said I was losing connection, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I think no, no, it's your space. You can, do that. The I think that anger comes from the mother. Like, I think that like whenever people are angry, they're really angry at their mom
Yeah.
because I think that like all evil comes from women.
Well,
Like,
it's not evil, it's justice. Justice is feminine, and punishment is feminine, mercy is masculine, according to every esoteric tradition throughout thousands of years. And that kind of blew me away because that means, oh wow, the Christ is the most masculine force of nature, like that can transform someone. Justice is always feminine. Like, think of a storm, right? It brings the trees back
I don't
into destruction.
I don't know. I don't know if that's really depicting what I'm trying to say. Like I just think everything bad it like always comes from women.
Really?
Yeah, like when men murder or do something crazy, it usually like not always like but usually it's either like the most common homicide is men that like get into a fist fight and like one of them accidentally like, hits in the back of the head or like
Is
something
that
like
true?
that. Mhm.
Oh wow.
Um so it's not like where women are number one homicides abortion, we kill the innocent.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I just think. And then whenever you see a really fucked up guy, he's always from a single mother home, like without a
Yeah.
doubt. Like I don't know, it sounds crazy to like normies, but I literally think I think like evil is in women and good is like naturally in men. And when men listen to women, then they become evil.
Yeah, it
And like
definitely looks like the women are like the second ping in ping pong. They're like a reflection, but it's up to the guy, 100%. I mean, you know what's interesting to me about morality is nobody realizes that to most Christians, Muslims, all these religious people, the morality is kind of like a question to them. They like to pretend, they like to talk about it, but it's really a question to them. But if you look at every mystic throughout history, everyone who's ever figured out even Gnostics, all these guys, they've always said the same thing that, dude, morality is a motor of what happens in your life. Meaning, like, I'm sorry to say, but these guys who go to therapists all day and they go therapy, my prescription of them is to stop lying so much. If you have serious, serious problems and you're always in therapy, I'm not saying you beat yourself up about it, but just change because you have a shit ton of psychic problems because you're constantly operating from an immoral behavior. And I'm not talking about like, none of you even do that. I'm talking about you lie to yourself, you lie to your mother, you lie to your friends, you lie and you don't even know why you're lying. I'm not saying you have to like say it and say whatever you want on the internet. And I'm not saying to turn into me. I'm not saying like to scream out from the top of your lungs like what you feel. I'm saying these mini lies add up and they're taking you to therapy. You're not as moral as you think. You're never as good as you think. You're actually, when you look at how much a human lies, it's staggering. When you look at how many times a human opens a subject that they know nothing about, it's mind blowing. When you look at how many times a man gets irritated or angry at the truth and he's trying to defend against it, it's there's a world when you lie, it creates an illusion, a distortion. In this world, you get punished in microdoses that add up. That's why you're in a fucking therapist seat right there. And people are convinced they're good people. Bro, if you're listening to this, you're a piece of you're a piece of well-being and experience shows everything. If you see someone with high experience in the world and he's in a state of well-being, that is a human. You're not a human just because you're walking on earth. You're a piece of there's so much stuff you gotta work on, man. Like it's wild to me how people have the same problems. I've always had different problems. Every year I'll fix it. I want a new problem. I want this. I'll make a mistake 1,000 times. But eventually it's like, guys, are you on earth to be like a fish, like fresh? And it's mind blowing. Like, dude, everyone listen to this.
that's
If
what
you saw how much these scroll on Twitter, they're such nasty pieces of I want to you know do you know all day these guys scroll on Twitter? Whether they have a high paying job, low paying job, they're doing the same thing. And that's not even genuine intuitive thinking. That's watching. That's other people thinking for you. You don't know how pathetic the average human is. This is why I love Chads, right? Go to the beach, see them throw a frisbee. People who turn their brains off, I adore these people because man, I'm surrounded by what are they called? Aiden Ross fans. That's who I'm surrounded by. They don't want to admit it, but my God, they're everywhere. I see, yo, Playboy Cardi did it. Bro, you're a